What's going on, everybody? Your man, Eric Wilson, Sports Arena. I'm in a better mood today. I wonder why that is. But, I had to go live today because it's just been the start of a great week. And as I'm going to say, it's a new dawn. It's a new day. It's a new life for my Philadelphia Eagles. And right now, I'm feeling pretty damn good. That being said, I got to bring my brother up in here, Mr. Michael Carrot-Tenuto, just because him and I have to talk about our division and just how god-awful it is. But ladies and gentlemen, Believe in the Pac-12 podcast, my brother, Mr. Michael Carrot-Tenuto. Michael, what's up, man? How are you?
I'm not worthy of the first place Eagles. Right. And you know how I feel about this because it is the NFL. And as much as like when going to school at Arizona State, the alum of Brandon Ayuk, who you're very familiar with. But that being said, like it's always in broadcasting, it's like, yeah, about being first and, punctual, but having your own opinion and not just to have a difference of opinion, but in the years you've known me, I think one of the first things I probably ever said to you is I'm so sick of hearing people say, oh, that team in the NFL sucks. That's a win for a team. Because like I said a few weeks ago, there's always somebody across the line that's a grown man that is trying to punish you, that is in a system. And example of your game last night, the 49ers late in the game had a good call. The Eagles stunted away from the blocking. Okay, yeah, so that's the chess match. It was a great play by the Eagles in the backfield. Yes, I'm not throwing up still. But that being said, like there's a grown man trying to like beat the hell out of you across the line and coordinators and film and everybody. So yeah, it's easy to say, oh, this is a terrible division. And, and yes, I mean, records would show it. Somebody's going to have to beat somebody, and win this division as it's shaping up now. But look, it's a quarter of the season. The Giants, and I said that in our group text this morning, if you wake up as a Giants fan today, you played the Rams the best out of the teams in your division so far. The Cowboys, okay, yeah, they had that late chance, but the offensive line got beat up. The Cowboys got thrown around like rag dolls. You guys couldn't guard Higbee, right? And Wentz got beat up. No surprise from the Rams defensive line. But you're the Giants, and it's a one-score game. So you know me, I don't subscribe to looking past at the professional level because it's a pathetic excuse for people like, oh, well, they were just looking past, or they always just want to make it the argument right for their team or this player or whatever, in my eyes. So somebody does have to win this division. I know you're happy, but if you're a Giants fan, to wrap that up, you wake up today saying, okay, the Cowboys defense is atrocious. Yes, we don't have Saquon Barkley. If we beat the Cowboys somehow and the Eagles lose next week and Washington loses, like we're in a division title hunt at 1-4. Like, that's the comedy. Like, exactly. I'm not trying to audition for stand-up for our viewers here on the Sports Arena, but that's the comedy of it. But yet it is still the NFL, and pandemic aside, any one of these teams would destroy the best college football team, because you know how I feel about that too. It's always a ridiculous comment.
We're not even having that argument. Exactly. But listen, I will take the praise for today, but I guarantee you by Wednesday, I'm going to be sitting on my heels saying to myself, okay, guys, you got one under your belt. Now you got to play Pittsburgh in Heinz Field. And I'm like, and it starts all over again for me. But for this moment, I will gladly sit atop the mountain that is the anthill of our division. But Mike, seriously, I say this with all due respect. I picked your team to beat Cleveland. Something that I don't do because you know me. Every Sunday, two teams I cheer for. Philadelphia Eagles, whoever's playing your team. So maybe I was the reason why you guys lost. And if so, I apologize to you and Ruth and the other 5 people that I actually respect who are Dallas Cowboy fans. I will not do that ever again. I will not pick them.
Oh, wow.
But the fact of the matter is this. I am putting square blame of yesterday's loss on your coach. Mike McCarthy does not know how to close games. At least the Clapper, when he was there, could get you guys victories. You might have been 8-8, but a quarter of the way through the season, Mike, come on. All that talent that you guys have, and you're 1-3. Now, granted, the Atlanta game was a fluke. You guys, in my estimation, right now should be 0-4, but you got one away from Atlanta. How on God's green earth are you continually putting up over 450 offensive yards. Your dog's even barking for me to shut up. So let me just end with this. Your defense, Mike, actually gives my defense some hope.
Well, right. And, again, I don't hide behind injuries because, again, yes, I understand
Neither
talent level. It is the next man up. We know what Leighton Vander Esch means to that team. We know, again, yes, he's only had I think 4 full seasons healthy, or 3 full seasons healthy. Is Sean Lee and what he means as a leader to that defense, because mentally, again, he gets there, everything. And Vander Esch is sick. Jalen Smith is solid, but without the other 2 cogs around him, it's very tough. So that being said, yes, it's on Mike McCarthy. I also put it on Mike McCarthy for this. You kept Kellen Moore as offensive coordinator, right? You did not keep the man that that can fire everybody up on a defense that the Cowboys had, because the one thing the Cowboys defense under the Clapper wasn't lacking was effort. It was terrible play calling. Rod Marinelli, you let go. Now, I don't know if he wanted to step down. I don't know. Not too many people, they said, he's coming in, yeah, he wants to staff. I'm not a big Mike Nolan fan. I know he's done well, but I at least keep Rod Marinelli there. I mean, Chris Richard probably wasn't going to stay because and you could have made him the defensive coordinator, because him and Marinelli had a great – I mean, you even have to admit it was the defense undermanned. It still looked really good. And Byron Jones, to my point last week, amassed a lot of that in the secondary, because a guy that can truly go play corner, play the slot, and then drop back and play safety as well as he did. I mean, as a rookie, he was a pinball and people got frustrated. But I'm like, dude, this dude's legit. So – I blame him because you don't keep Marinelli. The defense isn't living up to that. But Zeke this week, yes, I know he's fumbled twice early in the season, and it's not a running back of that caliber shouldn't put the ball on the turf. But Eric, you can't give him the ball 15 times and then 12 times. Like, I get the fumble.
No, and that's my biggest thing. That is my biggest piece right there, Mike. What is Mike McCarthy? Why it seems like he's so against the run game. When you have, and I can't believe I'm saying this again, like you, trying not to vomit in my mouth. When you have a top running back in the league, not just a division, and you're only utilizing him, if at best, 20%, 25% of the time, what's the problem here? What's the disconnect between McCarthy and Elliott?
I mean, I don't know. And to top that, like Jake always said, Jake would talk a lot about, obviously, towards the end, the tension between McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers, and people saying, oh, Aaron Rodgers can mask a lot. Well, McCarthy loves to throw the ball, and we know that. But they still, even though they had decent running backs in Green Bay, but they didn't have someone like Zeke. I mean, now they have Aaron Jones, so you could put Aaron Jones on that level. But at the same time, like they would say, Greg Jennings would say a lot of times, Aaron Rodgers would get frustrated his first few years, like roll his eyes at the play call. And like he would stick to the plays a lot of times to kind of maybe, hey, this is what we should have run here. But like you need to hand him off the ball at least 20 times a game. Because if anything, it will get you first downs. And if you have a banged up offensive line, even if Travis Frederick was back, which would be a blessing for me, right, as the Cowboys fans right now. But if you have Frederick and Martin back, and then yes, La'el Collins is now out for the season, which is terrible at right tackle. Tyron Smith is coming back, but with guys that are in there, like don't put them on skates all those times. Let them run the ball. So yes, if it is the old 3 yards in a cloud of dust, it sucks. But what's that going to do? It's going to wear down the defensive line. Offensive linemen at any level really don't want to be on skates for over 50 snaps a game. So I blame him for that, and I blame him for the offensive play call. I mean, look, everybody was like so taken by Sean McVay, but what has he done? I mean, yeah, they struggled last year, but it's not like they were terrible. Yeah, Gurley got hurt, and the running game wasn't the same. And the Cooper Kupp, tore his ACL, so he was out last year, right? Yeah, so I mean, it's one of those things where, like, yes, they had to make adjustments, but Sean McVay's offense is creative, and what people have. Offensive coordinators, coaches have shown you have to be creative. So you don't have to fully switch to the West Coast offense, but you could put concepts in there to keep because I think defenses look at the Cowboys and they're like, oh my God, this is great. Like, this is really great. Like, they're only giving the ball to Zeke 12 times.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Look, Mike, I'm
it's
with you. But let's take
maddening.
a look. You want to talk injuries? Yeah, look at all this over here.
Oh no,
I got Lane Johnson, Rudy Ford, T.J. Edwards, Avonte Maddox, Deshaun Jackson, Alshon, and J.J. Okay, let me just say this. I am not going to sit here like you. I'm the first one to be like, you know what? It's the next man up mentality. But I'll be honest with you. I didn't know Fulgham's name until last night. I didn't know who he was until last night. I was like, Greg Ward, this is your show. Richard Rodgers, I need you and Zach to do what you do because I knew they were going to double team Zach. As much as I give Mike McCarthy, I'm going to give him a lot of hell for losing that game, which, by the way, again, I apologize if I was the reason you guys lost because you know me. I don't pick them, but I did not. Here's the thing. I did not trust Baker. I could trust OBJ, who's been handling y'all when he was a Giants fan. I like Jarvis Landry. I feel bad for Nick Chubb if, the MRI comes back and he's out. Kareem Hunt's going to do his thing. They brought in Austin Hooper. I like what the Browns have constructed. I do not like nor trust Baker Mayfield. And Kevin Stefanski is shutting me down because I was a big proponent of you need to keep Greg Williams. There's no reason to bring this guy in. Let him work together with this team and let's figure it the hell out because Cleveland has talent. But Kevin Stefanski, for this moment, I'm going to say I owe you a small apology. If you get to the playoffs, should you be lucky enough to keep this ball rolling, I will then verbally apologize to you again. But aside from that, I just cannot understand how this team, America's team, a team that you and I have gone over the last decade arguing back and forth about whose offensive line is better, whose defense is better, whose quarterback's better, whose wide receiving core is better. I can remove all of that right now and say, Mike McCarthy was not the man for the job. And I will say on top of that, I'll even do you one better. I think Doug Peterson's on the hot seat this year.
Oh, see, with everything you just showed me, I don't think Jeffrey Lurie's not a knee-jerk owner. So I don't. Yeah, I mean, okay. I would say this: if they were to somehow go, if they were to somehow go down the stretch and lose 10 in a row, okay, then I could say Doug Peterson's lost the team. But I doubt that. I don't think Jeffrey Lurie would, like you said, with the injuries. I mean, guys that come back, we'll see where they stand. If you win a division again and you go to the playoffs again, I'm not saying that it'll be a great record, but you're not firing a coach. I don't think Doug Peterson's going to be this generation's Marty Schottenheimer. Of course, you're not going 14-2, but at the same time, if you got to the divisional round and you lost, he's not getting fired. Like I can see what you're saying. I mean, as a fan, and I'm sure a lot of fans they were on that, and then they won. They beat the Niners, and everybody's like, who again in my pick, they have their injuries too. But that being said, they get everybody healthy. I still think that they're the best team in the NFC.
But that being said, but for Doug Peterson,
no, I'm saying the Niners. The Niners are the best team in the NFC. But I'm saying the Niners, but for the Eagles, I mean, they get healthy, and like you said, Washington is definitely gonna, if especially with Chase Young going out. I know one of their other defensive linemen is out, so Mike McCarthy. I think that Mike Nolan literally has his Giants game, and if the Giants actually score more than without Saquon Barkley, if the Giants literally score more than 24 points, and that's a lot for them. If they score more than 24 points, Mike Nolan should be fired. I don't care. I'm not the knee-jerk fire person, but look, Wade Phillips is out there. And we know he might not be a head coach, but we all know everybody plays defense for that man. Everybody plays defense for that man.
Don't bring Wade back. I don't want to see. I do not want to see Wade Phillip back as strictly your defensive coordinator. I'd rather you bring him back as a head coach. Don't bring him back as a defensive coordinator. Hey, real quick, while we're talking, we got some quick questions here. So, my man Avery chiming in. What about the defense? Does Dallas need to fix? Let me ask you.
Well, it needs to get Van Der Esch back. And yes, Sean Lee would be another great piece. Look, Trayvon Diggs, like we were talking about last week, this rookie out of Alabama hasn't really got beat. I know on OBJ's reverse, there was terrible tackling. I mean, Jalen Smith missed. Aldon Smith went running by him. or couldn't angle him back inside to Jalen Smith. That was out of place. So again, to me, that's a Mike Nolan thing. But defensively, yes, you have to get a pass rush, but you need to bring a safety in. And I'm not saying the answer is Earl Thomas. Again, at this point, we don't know who's out there.
How is it not?
But
if that's the best man available, it's like fantasy football. If he's the best man available,
Earl Thomas didn't have that great of a year. He didn't have that great of a year last year in Baltimore.
But it's the leadership aspect, Mike. Right now, Dallas's defense does not have an identity. You can say what you want about Aldon Smith.
Oh no,
this man has been off for 4 years, but Dallas defense needs an identity. Who better than I can't believe I'm doing this on our show. I'm defending and telling your team how to get better. Okay, I don't. You could tell it's 2020. Let me just say that. But Earl Thomas is the best pick for you guys to bring leadership, to bring experience, and to help y'all. Like, listen, I'll take him. If you don't want him, give him to me, because I'll damn sure take Earl Thomas.
Well, but I mean, but it's a punishment on Earl Thomas, because ESPN and Bill Barnum had a good article this morning. You should look at it, pretty much going through the whole East. Side note, it is the worst overall conference, second worst overall conference record since 19 something. Like it's terrible.
That long ago.
It's the second worst. Yeah, it's the second worst.
2-11-1.
Right. And so it's 3-11-1. There's 3 wins because Washington, the Eagles. Yeah, so it's 1-2. Yeah, so 3, either way. Yes. But it's the worst in decades, second worst. But as a division, it's terrible. But for the Cowboys, you're right, no identity. But to me, it's a mark on Earl Thomas. I know things went bad in Seattle, and people say, well, he didn't get a contract, he got hurt, he's mad. I get it, and I'm with Avery there. Right, like I get it. Earl Thomas would be. If he it's a money thing, though. It comes down to a money thing. He's going to want guaranteed money, and they're going to want to go in it with no risk, because, I mean, the guy just did recently punch a teammate, and that's why they ended up releasing him in Baltimore. And Baltimore, I mean, come on, throughout the years, has been a very physical defense, no matter who's been there as coordinator. I mean, you get a Marvin Lewis, you get a Rex Ryan that come through there. I mean, they're going to be nasty. They're going to defenses that are going to punch you in the mouth, and you know it. But at the same time, like, he punched a teammate and he was gone. Steve Smith Sr. punched a teammate back in the day and got fined and suspended, but he wasn't gone. So from the locker room standpoint, do I think they need a player like that? Yeah. Would I take a chance? Not with a bunch of guaranteed money, though. No. But
that's fine.
You got to do something.
You have to. And I'm going to say the same thing here for Philadelphia. Listen, we were called the Broad Street Bullies for a reason back in the day, okay? So therefore, with that being said, I'll take Earl Thomas. If Earl Thomas wants to punch a bunch of these young cats in the mouth and say, yo, square up, let's go, let's damn sure do that. Because defenses this year, and granted, I get it. You haven't had time because of the pandemic. I get that. Defenses, I heard someone say this, defenses are not on the same level as offenses are this year, which is why we're seeing these just blown out scores on both sides. You know, I don't think I seriously would like to go back and see over the first 3 weeks of even if we take a 3 to 5 year time span, have the scores always been this high in the first quarter. You know what I'm saying? So I look at Earl Thomas and say, I get it. You have an obstacle that you need to face personally, but professionally, some team is requiring that type of leadership. And if, like I said, if y'all don't want him, I'll damn sure take him. Now, Avery wants to get
believe me, I want him. But I just, again, I know if it comes down to guaranteed money, they're not going to do it. And but for his side, I mean, if it's like a Cam Newton kind of deal, Eric, he's got to come in and be a good Boy Scout. So maybe that benefits. You're right. I mean, maybe from that standpoint, it benefits the locker room. But like I said, I was talking to Ruth last week when we were on here. How badly do you want Jason Witten? Because that's definitely the one person. I know he doesn't play defense, but the one person in the locker room that I definitely want back in the locker room. And the Raiders aren't using him that much. Maybe Jerry calls Mr. Davis up and says, "Hey, let's we made deals. I mean, come on, we gave you a number 1 pick for Amari Cooper, who had a very big day yesterday and has had very solid days. That being said, we're not going to get on Amari Cooper, but I mean, you need to do something in that locker room. You're right. And if it's bringing in an Earl Thomas, if he's going to be a good Boy Scout, but it's got to be put in. I mean, if he's going to sit there and be that way, I mean, because again, he was kind of that way in the locker room in Seattle, but he was still playing and they were balling out. So there's a big difference, and I get that.
You're right. You're right. All right. So Avery wants to get on me right now. So he's asking the question: is Carson my franchise quarterback? So you know what? Let me pay some bills real quick. Avery, I'm gonna answer that question when your man Eric Wilson, alongside my brother, Believe in the Pac-12, Mike Caratenuto. When we come back, I'm gonna answer your question.
For over 100 years, the story has been written, ever changing and growing with each new chapter. The soul remains, though the characters change. Bigger, faster, stronger, smarter.
Ready or not, here I come. You can't hide.
So too grows our fandom. Start miles ahead. The 2020 Prospect Encyclopedia. September. Available on Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, and Blitzalytics.com.
Welcome back to the Sports Arena. Your man, Eric Wilson, alongside my brother, Michael Caratenuto, Believe in the Pac-12 podcast, dropping new stuff each and every Friday. So make sure you check him out. So before we went to break, my man Avery, shout out to him and the Say What, Say It Again Sports Talk radio show every Tuesdays, 8:30 on Facebook Live. Check those brothers out. They going in, they rolling in 6 deep. And I know they got a lot of Laker talk coming up, but is Carson Wentz my franchise quarterback? So, Mike, I'm going to need you to sit this one out for a minute while I give my own self 2 minutes, and I have to explain to Avery what's going on here. So please allow me, brother. All right, Mr. Graves. So you want to sit here and you want to talk about the fact that is Carson my franchise quarterback? Well, let's think about this for a minute. First off, you paid the man 4 years, $128 million to be just that, your franchise quarterback. And through that entire course of this contract and moving forward, he has had to deal with plaguing injuries. He's never had a true number one wide receiver. And if he did, it was for a moment. That's all it was for, because of injury. Now, our offensive line definitely is one of the older offensive lines, but with older men come experience. And I would much rather have my offensive line of Jason Peters, Lane Johnson, Isaac Samalu, Jason Kelce, excuse me, and the rest of Andre Dillard above a lot of offensive lines. Are they younger? Yes, but they don't have the experience. See, we know how to draw teams offside. Now, our record right now, 1-2-1. Am I happy that we won last night? Of course I am. I needed to get a victory. You got to get the ball rolling sometime. But is he my guy moving forward? You find me another quarterback who could go through what my quarterback went through last season and is going through this season and still have the heart, the soul, and the determination to pull up each and every week and never quit, never settle, and do what he has to do. This is his job, okay? So before anybody wants to sit out there outside of Philadelphia fans, because Philly fans, we can have a whole conversation and be real with one another, but anybody outside of Philly wants to sit there and talk about my quarterback, my franchise quarterback, not being the dude, I'm going to tell y'all right now, GTFOH. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Let me get you back up in here, Mike. So if that doesn't answer your question, Mr. Graves, then I suggest you jump on the Sports Arena and we could talk about it. But that's where I stand right now when it comes to my choice.
Well, yeah, and to piggyback off that, like I said, I mean, the Cowboys wanted to go up and get him. I talked to quite a few people in Dallas that, I mean, they were offering stuff up. The Eagles just offered more, and the Cowboys, I guess, willingly and unwillingly enough, didn't offer up as much, which I don't think that he'd be in the same situation I think he is in Dallas right now as he is in Philly, especially with the injuries. I'm just injuries, and again, the defense. I mean, both of their defenses, it's just sooner or later they're going to want to turn the season into flag football. But for Carson Wentz, I'm with you. I mean, he's got the size. He's and I guess people can say, yeah, you can lay off the talk. You know, he was in the MVP hunt when he got hurt, when Nick Foles came in and won the Super Bowl. Yes, I'm not saying Carson Wentz wasn't, but Nick Foles came in for that stretch and won out in the playoffs. It's history. But that being said, too, like, yeah, I mean, I said to you guys last week, there's no way Carson Wentz isn't your franchise quarterback. Health is always a thing, depth. And this is the thing that kills me, especially this year. And I think I've said it to you before, Eric, with COVID. This makes no sense. And it makes no sense to me even in a non-pandemic time. You have a 53-man roster. You have to cut down from 90 to 53, as all football fans know. 90 to 53. But on game day, you can only dress 46. The NFL wants, in a way, and I know they wouldn't say this publicly, and they probably don't, but to me, on the other side, Eric, they root for injury and parity. Because why can you just not dress all 53? It's not a competitive advantage. If some team chooses to dress 11 receivers and only 7 offensive linemen, that's on them. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, if you want to say things, I don't understand why all 53 can't dress. Now they went from 46 to 48 in the pandemic, but yet they're still a 53-man roster. But they decide to up the practice squad numbers so you can have, I think, 12 to 14 now that you can have controlled on your practice squad. But you can't dress all 53. And I'm not saying that would help either one of our teams or any other teams dealing with injury. But that I never understood. The NFL, in a way, roots for it. Carson Wentz, and I love the favorite parts of my broadcast last night, literally outside Brandon Ayuk being a Sun Devil. But the favorite part is when Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth were talking about. They're like, yeah, players say, oh, we don't read, we don't listen, and they're both like, yeah.
And he was talking about the fact that
Carson Wentz didn't even know that Doc Rivers got hired. He's like, oh,
no clue.
The Sixers hired who? Like, no clue. So again, I think you have to be like that, and that's why, as much as it pains me to say, like, going forward, he is the right quarterback. Look, the example I always point to, especially in my lifetime, is David Carr. Phenomenal college quarterback. Actually had a pretty decent start to his career. But when you get sacked more in half a season than Peyton Manning had got sacked in 3 years, you're rooting a quarterback. Any person, I don't care how talented, how great, every single quarterback, you know what I'm getting at, is going to have tap dancing back there and have the happiest feet. Now, David Carr did get a Super Bowl ring with the Giants as a backup, and good for him. But I look at the David Carr thing. No, that's not Carson Wentz, but 8 sacks against Washington. It's like, wow. And you're up 7. I know. And I'm not trying to, I'm just saying, like, 8 sacks. He's like, and yeah, I heard some people, well, he's got to get rid of the ball quicker. Yes, there are times quarterbacks have to get rid of the ball quicker. But lastly, you and I both know this as a quarterback. And somebody was saying this, and the perfect example of me is Josh Allen, because Josh Allen does have the biggest arm in the game right now. It might not be by much. Yeah. And Patrick Mahomes thinks he can throw with him or out throw him, but the dude can throw 80 yards in the air. But and I was talking to a Bills fan yesterday, so I should precede it by saying that, lifelong Bills fan. But the problem that we always can say growing up, even playing or just watching, why didn't you get rid of the ball? If you and I could make every throw known to man on 1 foot, leading back, whatever, because that's how strong these guys are for the most part. You got a guy like obviously like Mahomes, but you got a guy like Allen, even Wentz. I mean, a big arm. When you can make every throw, you think you're never in trouble. It frustrates fans, but that's what makes them great. That competitive thing of like, no, it's no loss. I'm not losing. Sometimes they take a sack and it puts you out of field goal range, puts you in a 3rd and long. That's the difference. To us, it's a problem. To them, it's like that's their talent. So their talent, in a way, like to say in movies, it's almost their curse because they think they can get out of everything and make every throw.
Oh yeah, it's a blessing and a curse, because here's the thing. They were showing that last night. They were showing Carson in Sunday Night Football games when he was making plays, as he was diving out of the field, making a play to Alshon and caught it. When he was at the Atlanta game, this man was falling forward, ladies and gentlemen, and still was able to get the pass off. The pass he made last night that actually wound up coming back. That was a great Sunday night play by Carson. So I completely agree with you and side with you with this. It's the simple fact that right now, given the layout of the land, our division, unfortunately, is the worst division. We have to deal with it. Everybody outside of our division, go away. But I have to ask you one last thing, and then we're going to wrap this up, because this is what happens when Mike and I get together. Him and I could talk for 4 hours, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think you want to see Mike and I for 4 hours live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. But if you do, hey, just saying. Let me ask you one last thing. Where we're at right now, and I need you to be unbiased, because I'm going to be unbiased when it comes to Philadelphia. Looking at the Cowboys, what is the first thing today that you think your team is trying to fix before their matchup next week?
I mean, I would say the whole defense, which is almost impossible to do in a week. You know what? I'm going to go with gap responsibility defensively, because a lot of the runs, and it was a bummer to see Chubb get hurt. I thought, I said to you last week, that's the best running tandem in the league. I mean, some teams might have a better top running back, but as a tandem, there's nobody close in the league, in my opinion. But gap control, and Jalen Smith needs to step up and kind of get those linemen there. They need to play with. It comes down to a pride thing. Yeah, they're paid, but it's like you're getting smacked around. Like even in the Rams game when guys were there and Van Der Esch started the game, like they're just getting. Running backs are running downhill and like, I'm just going to bowl you over. And this is a linebacker. It's not like they're running over, a JV kicker or something. So it's gap. To me, it's gap responsibility and being smart with the ball. On a side note, I hope the Eagles get rid of Carson Wentz. It won't happen. But if they listen to everybody else, if they do, oh God, thank you. That gives us a little bit of light. No, but it's gap control, and give them damn ball to Zeke. Like he should carry it 20 times in the first half. Just shove it down their throat. The Giants, they're fighting. They're fighting for coach. We all thought like you hire a special teams guy just because he came from New England. Injured or not, I will say this. Not that Washington hasn't, but watching the Giants in most of their games, even against Pittsburgh, they're fighting, Eric. They haven't. There are times in some of the Cowboys games, especially the first quarter, Atlanta, the fumbles and everything, but it's like they put their head down. The Giants haven't stopped fighting. They may have not won, but at least they're buying into their coach, and he's holding them accountable. And like I said, they get a win next week over Dallas. Like you said last week, I'm planning for the 2021 draft. Yeah, baby. But that being said, like it's fighting for your coach. Now, Mike McCarthy needs to do something, but give the ball to Zeke. I don't care if he has 20 carries, Eric. I'm not even kidding you. I don't care if he has 20 carries for 25 yards. You punch their defense line in the mouth 20 times. I'm happy with that. Let's see what happens in the third and fourth quarter. Now, I don't think he would carry 20 times for just 25 yards. But even if it's that dismal, you need to do that. Give the defense a rest. Run the ball. Like that can put up fantasy numbers, and everybody's saying, "Oh, look at these fantasy football." As you and I have said, has ruined people watching their teams in regular football. Like, well, I scored 75 points. That's great from one guy. But yeah, the numbers are great, but you can't put an offensive line, like you just said earlier, haven't had time to get to chemistry. Defense is about chemistry too, but the offense is at least the receivers and the backs and the quarterbacks are ahead. So gap control, give the ball to Zeke, and then that can make throws. It was good to see CeeDee Lamb real quick get in the end zone finally. It was nice to see CeeDee Lamb get involved, but you become one-dimensional. I mean, they play the Ravens later on this season. If they play like that, Eric, I'm going to go like how I used to play Tecmo Bowl. The Ravens will not let them cross midfield. I never let my friends cross midfield in Tecmo Bowl. I'm not telling my secret, because then if people play it, they'll know. They will not cross midfield against the Ravens.
Listen, we got the Ravens coming up in 2 weeks. We've got Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Giants, and then you. So my one thing, and I can't believe this is happening. Clearly, it's 2020 because you and I are on the exact same page. Whereas you have Zeke, we have Miles Sanders, we have Boston Scott. Run the damn football. Oh, my God. I understand trying to get out and get these 7-8 yard gains, but we can punch defenses in the mouth right now. And I really feel like moving these next 4 weeks, we have got to get Miles more active. The only other piece that I would say to you is Jalen Mills, the Green Goblin. I said this to my wife last night. I said, let me tell you something right now. Don't ever let me around Jalen Mills. I'm going to find me a pair of clippers and shave that green stuff off of him. I'm telling you right now, you have to re-earn your title as the Green Goblin because you ain't catching nothing right now. He moved from...
Let me ask you this real quick.
Sure.
I was going to say, just real quick, because I know your wife's a big Jets fan. She's got to be hurting.
Oh, I mean, hey, my prayers are for Mama Kara Tenuto to get a W. I meant to say that. Thank you for reminding me. I'm putting it out there into the universe. Mama Kara Tenuto needs a W. We need to get one for her. The hell with everybody else.
Yeah, but what about your wife?
Well, listen, she don't care.
What about your wife?
Please. They played Thursday night.
She's a Jets fan.
Well, she is. But they played Thursday night. Right. You know what she did? Went to sleep. I'm like, your team's on. She's like, I don't care about them. She's like, I don't care about them. She's like, if they win, I'll be happy. I'll be shocked and surprised. I'm like, so I'm doing this for Mama Kara Tenuto. Mama Kara Tenuto, we going to get her a W. Sam Darnold, Le'Veon Bell, get her a win. That's what I care about right now. But Jalen Mills, he moved
she would like that. But anyway,
he moved from safety to corner or corner to safety. Whatever they did to him, apparently it must have worked. So let's try sticking with that because in his previous position, he wasn't about squat. And I promise you, if I'm ever in Philly and I got a pair of clippers in my hand, you know I'm looking for Mills because you need to shave your head because that green is unfaded out. It's just not it. It ain't working. And I'm tired of seeing it. Hey, this has been a great conversation as always. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be back throughout the day. Mike may be with me, but our man, Jake Rongholt's going to join me. Alex is going to join me. Ruth might be joining me. It's going to be a full day of the Sports Arena on a Monday. Really quick, Mike. Okay, who you like tonight? Green Bay, or is it a trap game, and is Atlanta going to win?
You know, and Jake will just think I'm doing it to pick against him, but Atlanta's defense won a home lead. But what does Atlanta's offense show? They can score. I mean, they're just like everybody else in the league that's putting up points. I say that Green Bay comes in maybe a little too confident, overconfident, and Atlanta gets them for their first victory. And it's not just a hot take. If it's close and the defense has to make a play, I'm telling everybody right now on the Urban Sports Arena, I'm going to be 100% wrong. If the defense has to hold it in the end, I know that I'm losing. But Atlanta gets out to a lead, and if Atlanta runs the ball at them, which Atlanta can run the ball, it's Lambeau in September is better for Atlanta now, or early October.
Hey, that's what I'm saying. I'm going to clip this and play it for Jake later on tonight. But, brother, thank you for your time. Love you, man. We'll talk soon. It's going to do it for me for part one of my day. Sports Arena, your man, Eric Wilson. Everyone have a great Monday. I'll be talking to y'all later on today. See ya.